Hi everybody, I'm Jen Phillips. A fan of South Plains politics, we've got a Red Raider special for you this week. The president of Texas Tech is here with us to talk about the next legislative session, the future of the university, and what it all means for all of West Texas.
From the studios of KMAC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points.
Thanks for joining us. Last week, we spent most of our time discussing the race for Speaker of the House in Texas. Lubbock Representative Dustin Burrows is taking on the establishment, disrupting the status quo by going against the endorsement of the House GOP caucus, who voted to support Representative David Cook of Mansfield last week. Well, since then, many of our local Lubbock leaders have weighed in on the matter. And it's all been in support of Chairman Burrows for this position. I know you're probably not too surprised to learn that. We have Representative Carl Tepper, the other representative for Lubbock. He represents District 84, and he, on a statement on social media, said that he proudly and enthusiastically endorses his friend, Representative Dustin Burrows, for Speaker of the Texas House. That's taking a big stand because he actually does have to vote in this matter. Now, we know that Chairman David Brugel of the Lubbock GOP and the Lubbock GOP itself released a statement this week. They voted to support Burrows' bid for the gavel. Dustin Burrows has been an effective conservative leader for our Republican values in the Texas House, is what they say on the matter. Now, Mayor Mark McBrayer, mayor of Lubbock, does not really have a vote in this matter, but still extended his support for Dustin Burrows, saying this is what is good for Lubbock and West Texas. Now, when lawmakers go to Austin in January, Mayor Mark McBrayer is hoping that Lubbock is mentioned, is considered, and that is why he has a dog in this hunt. The same goes for Commissioner-elect Mike Dalby. So he's not in office yet, but we've known he's going to be in office since the primary in March. And he says he, as in Dustin Burrows, will continue to be a champion for Lubbock, Texas Tech, and all of West Texas. Those are all stakeholders in the state laws that are passed. So of course they care. And we also spoke with County Judge Curtis Parrish, who said, "I trust my friend to represent the values of West Texas well." Someone else who wanted to weigh in on the matter and talked about the importance of having good Lubbock representation just in Texas government in general. Dr. Schovanec with Texas Tech University. Take a look. We're taking time at the end of the year to reflect and then to look forward. We like to do that here. So, Dr. Schovanec, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on. We had our Carol of Lights ceremony on Sunday.
I heard amazing things.
It was great. It's a time, I think, not only to reflect, but to be thankful.
Yeah, I like that.
We've enjoyed a lot of blessings during the year.
Yeah.
And the holidays is such a great time where you see the joy and the comfort of coming together.
Yeah.
The holidays and the Christmas season are very special for our community.
I didn't realize, too, that it was about this time last year that you and I had a similar conversation, but we were talking about Centennial and all of that. And that was so exciting. It, I mean, truly made national news. I mean, Today's Show and, you know, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, all these amazing things.
They were,
and then Tech really didn't stop doing amazing things after that. I mean, we get press releases like crazy, grants and research and all of this amazing stuff.
I'm glad you feel that way. Right now, and a very important agenda item is the campaign, the comprehensive campaign. We didn't talk about that at the Carol of Lights. I thought that would have been a bit crass. But that's, we had the public launch earlier this fall, and we're 4 years into that campaign, and we're very fortunate to have so many generous supporters of the university.
Yeah, big believers in what y'all are doing.
They are. I know this is silly, but I went to ChatGPT last night as I thought about my comments for the commencement coming up, and I typed the question, what distinguishes Red Raiders?
Yeah. What did it come up with?
They're passionate.
Yeah.
They're determined. They have grit. All the things we say, because it picks up on that.
Yep.
But it spoke of their extreme passion for the university and their support.
Yeah.
It mentioned athletic success, but also outstanding academics.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I mean, you know, Chat GPT's coming for my job, so clearly it's doing really good things and picking up on the right thing.
It's an interesting phenomenon.
It is. And that's, I mean, you have to navigate all of these new things coming. You did such an amazing job with the pandemic. I mean, there are other universities literally looking at your model. Talk with me a little bit about what comes next for tech, what your eyes are set on, because I know our Texas lawmakers meet. There's a lot of big changes on the federal level too. What are your priorities now?
Well, of course, the upcoming legislative session is one of our top priorities. We'll begin to testify probably in January. I think Tech Day is in March.
Okay.
That's so important to the university and to higher ed in general. We're fortunate that there is a surplus again this year, but in some ways it doesn't, you know, when there's extra money, there are a lot of asks. So they'll have to balance all of the thousands of requests they get. We've already submitted our legislative appropriation request.
Okay.
We testified before the Legislative Budget Board, and then we'll be testifying before the Committee on Finance and then the House Committee on Higher Ed.
Yeah.
And that's an opportunity to kind of articulate what our specific requests are.
Yeah, and those are these outside of just the main, we need to fund, you know, our general fund, that sort of thing? Are these separate asks than that?
The most important source of revenue for us is the formula.
Okay.
The formula is based on the number of student credit hours that you teach.
Okay.
So in some ways you earn that.
Yeah.
And then also we receive formula funding for space needs. There's a score that measures your efficiency, your utilization and your needs, and you receive funding for that as well.
Yeah.
That is sort of the core of our funding.
Okay.
And then there's special item requests.
Cool.
We've always had those. Currently, our special items amount to about $43 million. Our budget at Tech is about $1.3 billion.
Okay.
So it's not a really large amount, but it's significant funding in terms of what it does. This year, we'll be making additional special item requests, one that relates to the One Health initiative. Okay. You probably have heard quite a bit about that. That's a collaboration between Texas Tech, the Health Sciences Center, utilizing the School of Veterinary Medicine, dealing with issues of human and animal health, and the collaborations and synergies between those areas of service and research. We have just concluded a strategic enrollment planning exercise, and based on the outcomes of that, we're going back and asking for additional funding for our strategic enrollment priorities. Okay. We're going to be introducing some new programs that we think have a more direct impact on workforce needs in the state.
Great. Okay.
And also it's going to create alternative pathways for students who may have begun in a certain area that may not have worked for them, but they're a pathway that they can take. Maybe they could be a mechanical engineer or electrical major, but then maybe they're more appropriate for construction, engineering, technology. Some more applied areas. And artificial intelligence weighs into that as well. You know, Senator Perry is one of the leading voices on all matters related to water. We do have a special request for work that we do related to water research. It's been ongoing for many years. This year is kind of distinguished by the fact that it's a joint effort with West Texas A&M.
Oh yeah, that'll make a difference.
We hope so. And then another new item, we'll be seeking funding for what's called capital construction projects. Okay. We do plan to build a couple new facilities on campus. One is called a design village, where you come in off of Boston, right there behind the library. It will involve 6 different colleges, but a place where students can really experience the state-of-the-art training in areas of architecture, landscape architecture, construction engineering, technology, and others. And so we'll be requesting money to pay the debt service on that new building.
More to come with him in just a moment. And then after that, LISD is approving its Christmas list, but Santa's not getting this one in the mail. Legislators have to take this one up. We'll talk about that in a minute.
You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
That's a lot of moving and shaking happening.
Yeah, those new requests would increase our special items for about $40 to $60 million. Okay. But we'll see what we get.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing about a legislative session. To begin it, there's a lot of people asking for a lot of things, but you just kind of have to see how it goes, because last legislative session, I mean, Texas Tech really cleaned up and it was good.
We're very fortunate for the leadership of Senator Perry, Chairman Burrows, and Representative Tepper. And I couldn't be more sincere and emphatic in that. Another new initiative that's come up, and then we've paid a lot of effort to this, is in the area of national security. Yes. Because Texas Tech has had a long-standing record of doing research in pulse power, combustion and energetics. We're one of the few universities in the United States that could do research in these areas that relate to critical infrastructure. You know, the effect of EMPs, electromagnetic pulse, which are high energy sources that can damage infrastructure systems and such. And so we've had a lot of discussion with those three representatives and Senator Perry, and they've been very helpful working with legislators in Austin to position us to secure funding. Yeah. It would be great for the state of Texas, for this nation. Yes. But it would be really beneficial to Texas Tech and the local community if those new resources were to find their way to Texas Tech. Yeah, I mean, that makes you more than just a school in Texas. I mean, everyone's going to be looking at you guys. It's true. And also, it would have direct bearing on our aspirations to achieve status as a member of the AAU. Okay. Of course, when they approved the Texas University Fund, and now we get about $45 million a year in support of our research enterprise, this would also add to those sources of dollars that grow our research expenditures. Yeah. I should also mention that we've already received quite a bit of support at the federal level. Okay. Congressman Judge John Carter has been particularly involved in securing for us money that would relate to this national security initiative. Yeah. Well, it's certainly going to benefit people on the federal level and, you know, our lawmakers that are working with us in all states. So yeah, it's a national issue, it's a state issue, and it would be wonderful if Texas Tech could be the go-to university for this very important work. Yeah. And I'm confident we will be. Yeah. It's really cool to see. Is there anything else, if you're making, you know, a Santa list for all of these people that already know and love Texas Tech so much, but they're headed to Austin or DC, is there anything else that you need to write on that list before everything begins? I think we've touched on most of the issues. A lot of our special item requests, our special academic programs, the vet schools receive some money from there, but it relates to things we do in terms of the area of certain academic and research programs that have real impact, starting in West Texas. That's the great thing about tech. The genesis of what we do really begins with issues in our backyard, as it relates to agriculture, water, sustainability, energy. And then it's relevant to this local area, but it has implications for the country and the world. Yeah. And that's not a trite statement, it's really true. In some ways, Texas Tech is located in the perfect laboratory to do so much work that really has international implications. Yeah, so I think the funding we request really relates to practical work that has impact, and also nothing is more important than support for our students. This strategic enrollment funding I mentioned would continue to add resources to our efforts to enhance student success. We've made real progress in our graduation rates in recent years, even though we have grown. Yeah. I think when I became president, our first year, our freshman class was about 4,500. Now it's typically 7,000 plus. And yet our graduation rates have increased dramatically. Yeah. Our four-year rate has gone from the 30s to now 50%. Now, some people may think that's not so great, but if you look at national data, it's very good. Yeah. And our six-year rates have also increased. We want these students to come here, have a wonderful experience, get out in 4 years
Yeah.
with as little debt as possible. And we have reduced the debt as well.
As a student, you can feel when your school doesn't want to own you and your pocketbook for the rest of your life, so that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. We don't want to own their pocketbook, but in some ways, we want to own their spirit.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a great
I think
thing.
that's what makes Tech so special, is it's a place that feels like home.
Yeah.
You felt that at the Carol of Lights, being there among all those students. They were having a wonderful time. My niece, my brother, he went to OU.
Okay.
His wife went to OU. All their kids went to OU. But the youngest child decided to come to Tech.
Okay.
She loves it.
Yeah.
And she was at that event, and she texted me to say how neat it was. And
Yeah.
there were some parents came up to me after the Carol of Lights. They were there with their son. They came in from Amarillo, and he's a senior in high school. And they made a comment to the effect, "We want to be part of this. This feels right."
That's
And
magic.
It
Yeah.
is magic.
That's cool.
Of course, I live and breathe this, but I think many people feel it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you got so many students to come out right before finals week, which is another level of magic.
Yeah, so this weekend is always a very special weekend. We'll have 4 graduation ceremonies.
Yeah.
I think around 3,500 will walk.
That's huge.
We're already looking forward to the spring. I think there'll be more than 6,000 graduating in the spring.
Yeah.
Right now, we're graduating about 10,000 students a year, a little over that.
That's amazing.
It's amazing, but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
How do you keep that pipeline full?
Yes.
If we're sending 10,000 students out every year, we have to recruit quite a few.
Yeah.
And it's become very, very competitive.
Yeah, it is. But Tech's doing all right. I have a feeling.
Well, we have to keep our nose to the grindstone
Yeah,
and
definitely.
keep doing the things. I just got a report yesterday from Jimmy Hansard, who's our Vice President of Enrollment Management. Registrations for orientation already for next year are up 20%. We'll see if that holds.
Yeah.
But that's encouraging.
Yeah, people are interested.
Yeah.
They see what you're doing, and they want to see where they fit into that.
Yeah. It'd be great if basketball could go to the Final Four.
Oh, yes. From your lips to God's
No
ears.
pressure,
He said
Coach.
it here.
No.
Yeah. No, that would be amazing.
But those, I'm really glad that we'll be going to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Those things matter.
A good bowl game, too.
It's a good against a great opponent that means something to people at Texas Tech.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just
It's
like
gonna be
playing
fun.
A&M on Sunday was important.
Yes.
In basketball.
Yeah, and both the Red Raider basketball teams are killing it this year, so it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Fun to be a journalist. I can't imagine how you feel.
We have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Coach, I love our coaching staff. Of course, there were some changes made in football, but they went out and filled those vacancies really quickly.
Yes.
Very good people.
Yeah.
And we'll move forward.
Yeah, it's really promising. So maybe when we have you on this time next year, we're talking about, all the championships that
I hope.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be great?
And I hope that we're in the CFP next year.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay. You've
Those
heard it here first.
That's why they probably get so aggravated with me.
You care. That's not so bad. So does everyone else in Lubbock, by the way.
So does everyone else.
Yeah.
But I'm just voicing what most people feel.
Exactly. You have a bigger voice, so we can use it here. Cool. Thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
We need to make sure that we are equitably funding public schools, equitably and adequately funding public schools.
It's number 1 on the holiday wish list for Lubbock ISD, and by the way, most every public school here in Texas. The Lubbock School Board announced Hodges Elementary students will move to Bean Elementary School next year when Hodges closes. KMAC Juliana Washburn has the latest on the budget problems that led to this consolidation.
Over the past few weeks, Lubbock ISD has had to make some tough decisions.
I don't want this school to get shut down because we have a lot of history.
And Dr. Kathy Rollo says those tough decisions come down to a lack of state funding.
Something has to give, and that's why we're in a position where we're needing to make school consolidations.
On Thursday, the school board presenting a list of priorities for legislators to focus on in the next session. The district is asking for increased teacher pay, improvements to safety on campus, and more school funding so they don't have to face more consolidations.
We just know that this is very, very difficult. People are very attached to their schools and have a great deal of pride in their schools, and we understand that. We understand the pain and the grief that this brings, but it's necessary. We have to do something.
All of this comes after they've tried to reduce staff both in schools and at central office and cut software programs. But Dr. Rollo says they need a broader solution so they can take care of their students and teachers.
Oh, it would be, we would not be adopting a deficit budget. So we would be able to give our teachers more meaningful raises. It would allow us to ensure that we are not putting our programs in jeopardy and our people in jeopardy.
Well, the district is keeping a hopeful eye on the next session. By the way, in case you haven't heard, that legislature reconvenes January 14th. We'll be right back. A lot of eyes on West Texas and our legislators this week, aren't they always, though? That session just less than a month away now. Send us a comment on our KMAC News Facebook page or find us on everythinglubbock.com. And that's all of our time. For all of us on Talking Points, we thank you for watching. We'll see you right here next week.